All right, hey everybody. Hey, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Today, y'all, we're on a new job. We're gonna call this the Preston Tract. It's up in Beech Grove, Tennessee, which ain't too far from my house. It's about 25 miles or so. Not too bad, but we're in hill country, y'all. I mean, look up there. Now that don't look too steep from where we're sitting right here, but I can promise you it's a whole lot steeper than it looks. So I want to get in here and just tell you what I've been doing this morning. I moved the skid steer over here and the grapple and the forks and all that good mess that goes with it. And of course, back here is Mr. Preston's home and a couple of his barns and whatnot. So right now I'm out in the beginning of his pasture. And here just a little while ago, a couple months ago, I guess, Mr. Preston took out this pond dam right here, and I'm going to spin around where y'all can see it, try not to make you drunk. He took out this pond dam and drained this little pond right here. Now way back up in there, up that holler, you see you got a hill over here and you got a hill over here, that way. Okay, we got to go way up that holler back there. All right, but y'all, we got to have access. What does access mean? Well, them logs has got to come from way back yonder off that mountain, down the mountain, down the holler to where we are right here. Okay, so Mr. Preston took this dam out and released the water out of it and drained it. And y'all, this soil here is very rocky soil. Every bit of it's rocky. I'm going to show you a little bit of it here in a minute. Let's step right over here. Let me see. Okay, so look right here. I mean, you can see just how rocky it is. And here's part of that dam that he took out in the spare dirt. Now, he had a tile that he wanted me to put in, or told me I could put in. He was going to do it, but of course, you know how it is. Time hinders everybody. I know how it goes. But whenever he broke this dam right here behind me, he made a trench right here. You see this trench? And then it went right on down through there and drained out. Okay, but he had this tile right here, and he said, "Hey Zach, if you want to use it, put it in there." That's where I was going to put it anyway. And what I've done is I've put this tile in for him and built us a road across this tile. So now we can go from up here around where the skid steer is. That's where the main road that goes in up the holler is. It goes up there and turns around the skid steer and then goes back up yonder in the holler where I showed y'all. Okay, and this tract of timber, basically the way it lays, you've got a holler right behind us that goes straight back up there. Then you've got a hillside up here, and on the other side of that hill is another holler that goes up all the way to the back side of the property. And this road right here where we put this tile in and crossed it, you see that road right up there, how it goes around? It's like a bench road cut out with a dozer. Okay, it goes all the way around back out to the front of the property, around by the road, and around this mountain right here, this little hill, and goes up that other holler over that hill on the other side. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, this is a pretty good sized tract of timber. It's about 35 acres of timber. Then there's a good bit of pasture land and everything too. Mr. David, he has horses. I think he's got some mules too. I'm not sure, but he's a fine feller. Him and his brothers, been knowing them for a pretty good while. And they wanted to get their timber cut, and they trusted me to do it. So I'm thankful to be able to do that for them. This job is going to push my skills and the mule skills to the limit. Because when we get back up there here in a little bit, we're going to mark some timber today, and I'm going to show y'all. It's pretty steep. Now, I forgot to mention how we're going to get these logs out. So we don't want to drag them logs all the way down that holler back out to here, okay? We don't want to do that, not with the mules. That's just counterproductive. and it wears the mules out. We want to use the mules to get them off them hills back there. All right, because we can't get a machine up there real good, and we sure can't get a log truck up there. So we want to use the mules to do their job best. And we're going to resurrect the old man. Old Red's going to be back on the job, y'all. For those of you that like Old Red, I told y'all that I wasn't getting rid of him for a reason. And this job right here is a reason. Because Big Red can't go all the way back up in there. It's so narrow. There's a spring that used to feed this pond. And Mr. Preston is going to move his pond further back up the hollow. That's what he said his plan is. But there's a spring that runs in a little ditch right down the middle of that holler all the way to the top. All right, and this road that we got that goes in and goes up the holler, it just kind of skirts alongside of that stream, okay? And there's nowhere up there to turn Big Red around. Now, I could back him all the way up there, and that would be an option if we have to do that. It's not too far up there. It's probably 200 yards, 250, something like that. So it's not terrible, but Old Red could do this a lot better by just bringing him to right here. It slopes downhill from up there where that road goes around. Let's see, it'll be like right there. So we'll pull Red right there on that hill and dump the logs off. And then we'll stage our logs right in here where these rocks are sitting, these big rocks, and where the skid steer is sitting. We'll stage our logs right there, I think. Now, almost every job that I do, y'all, I wind up moving my log deck almost every time. So right now, my plan is to make a log deck right here where the skid steer sits and where these rocks are. And then, let me turn around here where y'all can see. Then I can bring Big Red up in here behind the Preston's house. They got like a little circle around driveway around their house. I can bring him up here and back him right through this alleyway, right up in here to where we're at. And then you see we've got a nice, right up here where he broke this dam out, we can back up in there if we need to, okay? So that's gonna be kind of my tentative plan on how we're gonna deck our logs. Subject to change, more than likely it will. But as for now, that's the plan. All right, y'all, we're up here on top of the ridge right now. We're at the very back side of the property. In fact, right over there, I don't know if y'all can see it or not, like right there's a white fence post tip. The fence is right over there. I mean, it's not even 30 feet from me. So we're right here at the back of this property. This property is very steep and hilly, and we're right here on top of the ridge at the back. There's a ridge that kind of runs along right there where the skid steer is sitting. It runs behind where y'all are at, on down past the skid steer, and kind of follows the fence on back around and makes a big loop all the way back out to the highway out there. But I'm gonna go right over here and show you the road getting up here. It's pretty steep, y'all. It's probably the steepest job I've ever worked. I worked a few jobs that were, you know, a little steep, but this one is steep. We're gonna have to be careful here, for sure. But there's good timber up here. There's a mix of all kind of timber. There's chestnut oak, white oak, red oak, poplar, hickory. Just a good mix of hardwood timber up here on this place. Let me turn this camera around. I'm gonna show you all this access road getting up here. All right, we're standing in the intersection. This way right here goes back out toward the road. All right, this one here goes down the hill, and then this one right over here goes right back over to the skid steer where we was at. And then right here, y'all can see that gate. That's the fence line. And as you can see, I'll go down through there like that. All right, so now I'm gonna take you right down here and let you see down this road. It gets pretty steep coming up through here, especially right down here in this second curve. Not this one, but the next one. It gets pretty steep right in there. So right down here in this curve is where it's the steepest at. Once we get it around that curve, it's not a big deal. Everything's good to go from there on. It's just the road goes on out down the holler down there about another 100 yards or so, and then it's like in a little valley area. But as you can see, I mean, there's a good little white oak right there. It ain't quite big enough to harvest, I don't think. We'll have to measure it. Here's some hickory, some shagbark hickory right over there behind it. There's a shagbark there. Pig nut hickory right here. But this is a steep job for sure, y'all. And then like right over here on this ridge, it's not too bad right up in here, but right down there, we're kind of down there where the road is at, I mean, it really just rolls off and it's near about straight down right there on the edge of the holler. Okay, y'all, now anytime, you know, I've told you in the past, when you start cutting timber on a job, you want to start at the very back, kind of working your way out toward the road. And on this particular job, this is a big timber job for a one-man mule logging operation for sure. It's about 35 acres of timber. There's more than that of pastures and whatnot on out in the front. But with that being said, me and the landowners talked about it, and we have decided we're going to cut it in blocks. We're going to cut like 10-acre blocks, and then I'll move off and go to another job, and then come back here and cut 10 more acres, and then move off and then come back and cut 10 more acres, if that makes any sense. It works out good for the landowner because he's wanting to kind of clean some of the tops up while I'm gone. So it works out good for him. And then it works out good for me because it kind of gives me a little bit more security in my business, keeping timber lined up ahead of us, if that makes any sense. So what I'm doing right now, we're at the back of the tract of timber. We're going to start marking timber to cut. And so far, I've got this chestnut oak right here marked. See the blue ring around it? Okay, that chestnut oak measured 24 inches at DBH. DBH means diameter breast height. That means when you check it right here with this stick, okay, this is a timber stick, a tree scale stick, and on the back side is a log scale stick. You can do both with it. All right, on this stick, that tree measured 24 inches. So you're gonna get a good butt cut out of it and then a couple uppercuts. All right. Now, chestnut oak is a species of white oak. It's not exactly white oak and it don't pay the same exactly, but it is a species of white oak, kind of like post oak, cow oak, chinkapin, you know, stuff like that. But now there is a good bit of white oak in here too, a little bit here and there. Matter of fact, this little guy right here, this is what we traditionally call a white oak. This is the tree that'll bring you the most money right here in our area anyway, other than black walnut. But we want to take care of this little guy. We don't want to crush him. Okay, this chestnut oak is mature enough and ready to come out. We don't want to let it get much over 24 inches down in the butt, because when it starts getting bigger than that, they tend to have hollow spots in the middle. Okay, so what I've done basically, y'all, is I just looked around in here and I've decided, okay, in my mind, which ones are the biggest trees right here in this immediate zone that I'm in. This tree right here was the biggest one. It's 24 inches. Okay, and then we've got this other chestnut oak right here behind it. Let's measure it and see what it is. Okay, so this tree measures 20 inches, and I'm gonna show y'all right here on my tree scale stick. Maybe y'all can see this. Okay, across the top of it is the inches of how big the tree is. All right. And it also tells you how many 16-foot logs is in it. I'll confuse you if I start trying to tell you how to use that. Okay, but these tree scale sticks are mighty handy to determine the diameter of the tree at DBH. So we said this is a 22-inch chestnut oak right here. All right, you got to hold it about arm's length away from you, and you want to take a couple measurements on the tree, not just one. You want to hit it from one side and then come around there and hit it from the other side, because it could change. A lot of trees aren't exactly round; they might be a little oblong. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this tree right quick. And then what I want to do while I'm marking it is I'm going to write this down in my notepad and just kind of keep an idea of, how many trees, species, and how many I've got marked. And what I want to do is today, I want to mark this little ridge right here that goes around back over to that road I showed y'all. And if we can get this little section marked, that'll be enough to keep me busy for a few days, if that makes any sense. And I can keep this stuff wrote down, and that'll kind of give me an idea of the species and how many loads I'm going to have out of this little zone of timber. All right. Now that I've got that marked, I'm going to put my notepad back up. And when I'm not, trying to explain it to y'all, I can go a lot faster. But I kind of want y'all to see how I get these jobs started. It's not one of them deals where you just come in here willy-nilly and start cutting it. It's not that easy. A little more to it. And I want to show you, let me turn this thing around right through here where y'all can see. Okay, now out of all the trees, let me level the camera a little. Now, out of all the trees that are right here in our sight, okay, all right, that one right over there can go. That one right there could go. And that one right there could go. Now, we don't want to take, all three of those probably. Because what'll happen is it'll open up too much canopy in one place, and it'll start making it look bad if you ain't real careful. And I may wind up leaving that smaller chestnut oak out of this group here. That's one of the decisions whenever, I don't want to be making timber thinning decisions while I'm cutting timber. And I don't really want to be making, I don't want to be doing, I want to split the jobs of marking timber and cutting timber. I want to split them completely. Then that way, when I'm cutting timber, all I got to do is just roll on to the next blue ring. I don't have to do a whole lot of thinking about whether or not it should go or whether or not it should stay. When I'm out here alone by myself and I can think, and I've got my stick in my hand and I can look around and kind of decide, in this area, which trees should stay, which trees should go. There's going to be a lot of tie timber in here. We need to decide what size of tie timber we're going to take and leave. The biggest thing is we don't want to take too much. That's the biggest thing. We want to leave plenty of canopy. We want to lighten the canopy a little bit overhead to get some sunlight down in here to encourage growth. But at the same time, we don't want it looking like a tornado come through here either, if that makes any sense. Now, sometimes you're faced with decisions like this. You've got right in this group, right in this area right here, we've got a good bit of maple growing right here. Maple is a really slow growing tree. And there's some young saplings in here all around it. It don't take much, y'all, for a maple to get overrun or get overtook, especially with poplar trees, because poplar trees will just shoot straight up, canopy out, and they'll prevent these maples from getting to maturity. So here we've got 3 maple trees. This one on the left over here is already dead. So we need to check this middle one. It's pretty good size, and this one on the right. They're going to be very borderline, but let's see what they measure. Okay, now I don't know how well y'all can see me, but this maple tree here in the middle measures 19 inches at breast height. Okay, so far we've marked a 21 and a 22 inch tree. Okay, we're not really wanting a thin to make it look good. You know, we're not trying to take absolutely no more than say 20% of what's here. Of the total volume. That's the little trees. You know, I don't have one close by, I will show you. There's one right here to y'all, to the left of y'all. But you know, a tree that's 8 inches, 10 inches or so, we'll count them in a block and say, okay, out of this block, what 20% can go? Ideally, you want the largest 20% out of that block. Okay. So, and then of course, if you got some that needs to go, that's a cull, they'll need to be marked. Or if you've got some that are, you know, an invasive species, and you want to kind of knock them back a little, you can do it that way. There's 100 ways to do this, and none of them are right and none of them are wrong. It just depends on what the landowner wants and what the logger wants to do. Mainly the landowner, because that's who I work for. I work for the landowner. So we've got 2 of them right here. We've got this one and we've got that one to choose from. And then there's some young ones right down here behind it, okay? And there's some young saplings around it also that are young maple trees. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure these and just see what they are. Let's see, we decided that one was 19. That one over there is probably gonna be 18, because it's not quite as big. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mark both of them, because this young maple right here, or this younger maple I should say, is still pretty good size. It's got a spot on the other side that's dying. So we want to go ahead and get it out of there. And then we've got a lot of young white oak. Here's a good white oak right here. So let's go ahead and knock these maples down and let these young white oaks grow. And there's some young maple, you know, that's probably 8 or 10 inches at breast height right down here on the other side of them. That's going to be some good trees here in a few years. Okay, now here's a maple here that is pretty rough. It's got a bad place down here in the bottom. I don't know if it's going to, how good it's going to do, but we've already got a snag here hanging in. We need to get this down. So I'm going to paint an X on it. And what that'll let me know is that it's a cull. Alrighty. Now I want to write down, let's see. Hard maple, we got 2. And then cull, we just got 1 so far. So that'll kind of help me keep track of what we got going on. Now y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this ridge. I'm gonna go ahead and go through here and mark the rest of this timber. And I'm gonna be doing it exactly like what I showed you, making decisions based off of species, based off of size, based off of if it's a cull and it's dead and it needs to go. There's a lot of decisions that affect that, and I've already talked to the landowner about what he wants. Me and him are on the same page. We just want to go through here and just sort of lightly thin her out. You know, we're not getting too heavily involved. We want to leave a good stand of young timber, viable timber that can be cut again in 15 to 20 years. You know what I mean? So anyway, look, I appreciate y'all being here and hanging out with me, you know, hearing me out on my thoughts and ideas and coming along and marking this timber. This job's going to be, it's going to be difficult. It's going to challenge me and my mules. It's going to push us to the limits of what we know. We're going to have to learn. There's going to be some learning curves. Thankfully, I've got some good friends that log steep ground a lot that can help me, give me advice on, you know, what they do. So I'm thankful for them. And you guys, y'all know who you are. I appreciate you, every one of you. But look, thank y'all for being here and watching. Really, I appreciate it. And if you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button for me. It'll push our videos on down the road. And if you like what our channel's about, you know, here, big trucks, logging, mules, skid steers, chainsaws, gardening, and just hanging out and having a good time. If you like all that and you enjoy it, hey, hit that subscribe button for me, will you? That'll help our channel out a lot and help us to grow. And you guys can be part of it at the same time. But as always, I'm going to put my email up here on the screen. And if any of you need me, holler at me. Be glad to talk to you. And as always, I'm going to be praying for you, each and every one of you. If you're hearing my voice, I'm praying for you because you're important to me. I don't say that just to be saying it, y'all. I say that because I mean it. Each and every one of you are important to me. And I hope and pray, it's my prayer that each and every one of you will find Jesus. Here on this channel, Jesus is number one, y'all. So anyway, y'all take care, and I'll see you next time.